time to talk about some passwords in Domain 6.5. So, password best practices. I'm going to try to not to get on my IT admin soapbox on this one, but password length. When it comes to our passwords, length, and research has shown the longer the better. Length is important. All right, you know, we always talk about, well, what about complexity? Put some complexity in there. And yes, I agree with complexity. We'll talk about that next. I'll tell you, we'll talk about it right now. Complexity is just not letters, right? So if you have a password that's just PASSWORD, all lowercase, that can, you know, it's 8 characters, 8 characters long, all lowercase letters. That will probably be cracked in a matter of seconds. And they say, okay, well, put some complexity in there. And you could do that, right? You could put a capital P. You could do the and at symbol, like Shift 2 on your keyboard. You could put dollar signs for the S's. You could put a 0 for the O. You could do whatever floats your boat, really. But you got to keep in mind, malicious actors, they know that as well. So there's tools, there's programs. I've got tools and programs that will allow me to put in or substitute some of these special characters for common things, like what I just rattled off. It's common to replace the letter A with the at symbol. It's common to replace the letter S with a dollar sign, O with the number 0. And they know this. So they will have their password cracking utilities substitute in, as well as just using a regular A, but then substitute in this complexity. That's why longer is better. I always say, I don't even like the word password, to tell you the truth. I say it a lot, but passphrases is what you need, right? Not just, you know, one word. I don't know what the longest word in the dictionary is, but I doubt it might be somebody's password. But most people, when they come up with a password, right, it's probably anywhere from 6 to 10, maybe 12 characters, depending on how long they've been using their computer. Most folks, when they come up with a password, they try to think of something that's easy to remember, something they look around, something they use day to day, because they don't want to be locked out of that application or that service or whatever it is, right? So they may come up with something easy, like a spouse's name or a child's name or the dog's name or their favorite football team or baseball team or hockey team, or, you know, the city they grew up in, or the year they graduated as a PIN number. You know, those kind of things you don't want to use. They are easy to guess for malicious actors. Think back to when I was talking about the social engineering in the back of that screen, the back of that car, right? You could use some of that for password cracking possibly, right? You might be able to use some of that for answering security questions to crack passwords. But back to this, length is better. Anywhere from 12, 14, 16 characters beyond. Passphrases make that easier to accomplish. You know, instead of just putting the word cheeseburger out there as your password, which is decently long. I don't want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And you could sprinkle in some complexity in there if you wanted to and make it that much stronger. But 12 character password, not bad. But what if you, instead of cheeseburger, you said, I like to eat cheeseburgers? You still got cheeseburger in there. But now you got I like to eat. You've added in a bunch more characters. You went from 12 digits to what? 1, 5, 8. I like to eat 10. You're 22 characters now, which is fantastic. It's probably going to, and if you sprinkle in some complexity in there, now it's going to take these password crackers probably, well, I don't know exactly 10 to the something power or whatever, but it's going to take it probably another 5,000 years or so, maybe more, to crack that password. A bunch of different variables go into that, so I really shouldn't have put a number out there. It depends on how fast your computer is and other things as well. So research shows, again, longer is better. I know I've said that like 5 times, but I'm trying to hit that point home because people still are creating short passwords. We don't want that. We want longer passphrases. And I want you to start using that. I want you to start teaching that. Pass that along in security awareness training. Let end users know, hey, instead of just this word or make sure it's not their kids, you know, it's some passphrase that could be easier to remember. We talked about complexity. Let's get to password history. Password history is how long can you keep your current password before you have to change it. This causes some heartache, usually between our end users and the IT folks, or the admin folks, because most end users, they don't like changing their passwords. They get comfortable with something because password length and complexity, you're forcing upon them that they need at least a 14-digit password with complexity. Well, that can be difficult for them to remember, because remember, you have to remember, they're not IT folks. Right? They can use the computer, they understand how to do their job with the computer, but the stuff we're talking about or we're going over in this class, they don't think about that. Right? They think, how fast can I get in my computer and make it do what I need it to do? I need to get in and do my accounting. I need to send out my emails. I need to get on the web and check the database, right? There's things that they do that they don't think about what we're talking about here. Password history is one of those things where you have to find that happy medium, right? You don't want them to have to change, if you have password history of 30 days, right? That's how long you can keep it. Right, your password history is there, man, and it expires after that, which password expiration, that's bye-bye. And that's the next one. So that is right there, right? That's how long you can keep that password. So 30 days, it's probably a little short. 60, 90 days, probably a little bit better. You don't want to go too far though, right? We go too far to the right, we say, all right, well, you don't have to change your password for 360 days. That's a whole year almost, where they can keep the same password. And you might think, well, why is that a bad thing? That, they're complaining because that gives malicious folks a whole year to go after that one password. So if you change it every 90 days, 120 days, that password cracker that they're trying to run through there may need to start over. And that is supposed to help defeat that. Now, another thing, and I don't have it on the slide, but I thought about it just a second ago with password history, is your old passwords. They'll call that password history sometimes too. Like, let's say I made you change your password. Right? You changed your password and you changed it and you changed it. You can't use so many old passwords before. Maybe your password history is 4, meaning you can't use the last 4 passwords that you've used when you change your password. You can't reuse that password. And the reason, well, one thing, end users, they got smart about that. They were like, all right, you said I can't use the last 4. So what they would do, they would come up with a password that they like and just append a number to it. And they would do that 4 times and then go back to the original because we overwrote that password history. So they don't get tricked too easy sometimes. Your password reuse across sites. Just simply don't do this. Simply don't do this. This is probably one of the biggest pet peeves I have when it comes to end users, and I know it's for convenience. You have all these services you got to get to, and you got different passwords for each one. Remember, we talked about single sign-on and how much they like to do this because they will use the same password for every one of them. You run into a problem when this gets compromised, right? So let's say you have your online banking, your online shopping, you visit this forum and you play some online games. You have the same password for all 4 services, but something happened on that forum, right? Somebody hit that forum with a cross-site script. They stole your information. Now they have your password. Well, not only do they have your forum password, now they have your online gaming password, they have your email password, and whatever else I just said a minute ago, your web application, your online shopping, and your online banking passwords, right? They have all that information now. They may not know it. They may not know, oh, that's their banking password, but I guarantee it. Well, again, no guarantees in IT. I can almost guarantee it, 98% sure, that once they perform that attack on that one service, they're going to branch out and go to your other services because your identifiers are going to be the same, like your email addresses or your usernames. And as soon as they identify that, then they're going to try that password that they used over here, and then guess what? They're going to be successful. So that's why you don't want to use the same password over and over and over. That would be like using the same key for every door in a office setting. Right, one key for every door. That doesn't work well, because if that one key gets compromised or lost, Now everybody has, or somebody, whoever found it, has keys to everything. And you don't want that. Password managers, not bad if used and configured properly. I used to be against these. I'm kind of getting on board with them a little bit. One reason I was against them, and when I think of what I'm talking about, is the password managers kept locally. It was like Windows has a vault where it keeps your passwords, and it is secure, it is encrypted, and it probably is okay. I just don't like having the fact of all my passwords in one basket kept somewhere on a hard drive that could be compromised. And if you don't have good physical security, if you don't have good infrastructure security, you could be setting yourself up. Now, if somebody got that, could they crack it? I don't know. Probably not for a while. But that's my paranoia a little bit. And that's where I just have problems with password managers. Where I don't have problems with it is that now they're getting better. But the way password managers work is it goes back to password length and complexity that we talked about. I can create one good password where I have to remember just one. Remember, we talked about reusing across sites. This is where password managers are going to help you. You create one password. Maybe it's 24, 28 characters long. Good long passphrase. All you need is that master password, because the password manager, what it will do for you is generate passwords that are huge and apply that to your applications. It knows it, the application knows it, but you don't have to worry about it. It will take care of that authentication for you. And you're talking huge passwords, complex with long strings. They're not really passphrases. That's why I'm calling them passwords, because they'll put, it just makes no sense. It's like somebody just took their hand and rubbed it across the keyboard real fast, and just whatever showed up on the screen, that's your password. And that's fine. You don't have to memorize that. The only thing you have to memorize is that one good password to get you in the password manager. So I can see where that would be advantageous to end users, or anybody really. It's not bad. One that's popping up in my head right now is called LastPass. And it's a cloud-based, web-based password manager. But you can also use two forms of authentication with it. Not only do you use the password, something that you know, you can get something, they integrate it, it's called I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, an YubiKey. I think it's YUBI key. But it's a USB dongle that you can actually, you put in your computer, and you can use biometrics, right, to give you a second form of authentication along with your password. So I kind of like that idea, right? That's the part where I'm sliding to that with this two-factor authentication. I think that's really nice. I think that gives that little extra layer of protection. Now, all your passwords, are they still in one container? Yeah, they kind of are. And if your service provider gets compromised, then hey, that could be some problems. However, on the back end, so anybody that's out there with LastPass, the back end, they are encrypted. Those passwords are protected. So let's say something catastrophic did happen, they were compromised. Even if they did get the data, they shouldn't be able to understand it. They would have to decrypt that data in order to use that information. And the encryption that they use on the back end is, hopefully, I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping it's strong enough where it would take them hundreds or thousands of years in order to try to crack that information to get the keys to the kingdom. Password reset policies, or the process. You need to let users know what the process is. You're going to have a policy on that, right? I'm sure you're going to have a policy on that with the procedures in there. What about the forgot your password link or security questions? You can use those kind of things. Not to tell on myself too much here, but security questions, you could actually get around those. What I mean is get back into the dark mindset, if you will, for a second. And let's say I wanted to try to compromise somebody's account, but I know who this person is. You may very well know the answers to these security questions. Family members, spouses, ex-spouses, decent friends, maybe people that just share too much on social media even. But you know something about them and their security questions. right? People put on Facebook, going on my first plane ride down to Hawaii or whatever. So, I mean, that's a security question on some places. Where was your first plane ride? What's your favorite food? What's your father's middle name? What city did you grow up in? What city did your parents meet? You know, some of these questions, you might know these answers about people that you know decently, right? So that gives you some insight on the reset process there. The forgot your password link, we know those are on there because I've used those before. You know, I'll make a passphrase and then I forget it. It's quite simply, I forget it and I'm like, ah. So I click on that forgot password link and then it takes you through that process. You got to verify yourself. It's not like they're just like, okay, everything's cool, let's reset it. You know, they're going to prompt you for some other things, maybe an email address or a secondary email address or a phone number or the last 4 digits of your social security number. Your bank may ask you for a PIN number or part of your account number, your checking number, may ask you for your bank card. There's other things, other mechanisms they have in there where they try to authenticate you. Most of the time, they'll send you a password reset link to the email that you provided during registration. So it would be difficult, even if I was to try to compromise your system, right? Say, okay, well, I know Mark's getting on there. I'm going to click on that forgot link. I click on it, and it sends Mark an email. Well, now Mark's getting some ideas. Hey, you know what? I didn't ask for this. Maybe somebody's trying to compromise my account. And now me as a malicious user, I'm setting off bells and whistles here when I really don't need to be doing that, or I shouldn't be doing that because I shouldn't have clicked that link because, of course, he's going to get that. And he should report it. He should probably immediately change his password as well. You know, those kind of things during our password resets are things we have to be mindful about. All right, that's the down and dirty of our best practices for our passwords in domain 6.5. 6.6 is coming up next, so I'll see you over there in just a few seconds.